Two unique dining experiences at Disney's Hollywood Studios, 50's Primetime Cafe and Sci Fi Dine Theater. But which is better? Find out today here on Walt Disney World Adults Only. Welcome your Royal Highnesses, I'm Dan and you're watching Walt Disney World Adults Only. Today I'd like to talk to you about two restaurants at Disney's Hollywood Studios, 50's Primetime Cafe and the Sci Fi Dine Theater. These are two very unique dining experiences. I have dined at both of these restaurants and have quite solid views on them. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of these restaurants, and then I'm going to be joined by some of our team members who are going to give you their experiences, and then we're going to vote on which one we think is the best. Of course, this is totally subjective and based only on our own experiences dining at these two restaurants. It will, however, hopefully give you some insight if you are considering dining at these restaurants on your next trip. If you want to know about the wider dining options available at Hollywood Studios, we already have videos about the table service options and the quick service options, and I'll link those two videos in the description down below. Before we dig in, please click subscribe and then tell us in the comments, have you eaten at either, neither, or both of these restaurants? Tell us your experience. So let's start with 50's Primetime Cafe. Located in the Echo Lake area of Hollywood Studios, you will find classic American comfort food, 50's kitsch, and a good old family gathering. This restaurant is authentically vintage, and you will find retro tables with black and white TVs showing popular primetime clips from the 1950s. The cast members working here are all in character. Yes, they are your relations, and you better mind your manners. Now, you can opt out of the fun, but why would you want to? And if you don't eat your greens, you'll rightly be told off. Now, the menu here is comfort food, and when the Disney dining plan has been offered, this place is one table service credit per person, and it opens for both lunch and for dinner. Appetizers are around $12 here and include Grandpa's crab cake, beer battered onion rings, and a chicken noodle soup. Entrees include Aunt Lizzie's golden fried chicken, Cousin Megan's traditional meatloaf, and Mum's old fashioned pot roast. Entrees are around $20 each. Desserts include a traditional warm apple crisp, Mum's brownie, and Dad's favourite chocolate peanut butter layered cake. These are around $8. And for an extra $2, you can have it a la mode. How old fashioned does that sound? And for the youngsters in the family, that means it's served with ice cream. Soft drinks here include floats and shakes, and this is the place where you can find that peanut butter and jelly shake. If over 21, you might also be interested in Dad's liquor cabinet. Here you'll find cocktails, wines and beers too. So does this one take your fancy? Tell me in the comments down below. Next, onto the Sci Fi Dine Theater. Dinner and a show, did I hear you say? Staying in the 1950s, this is Disney's very own drive-in theater featuring American cuisine and sci-fi movies. When I first booked this, I thought the dining experience was outside. I quickly learned that this was not correct, but it's themed so well you do actually feel like you're dining outside. The booths here are shaped like cars and are all pointed towards a large screen as if you were at a real drive-in theatre. So you dine inside your car. Now, if there are more than two of you in your party, this could be an issue as you sit in rows of two. So effectively, if there's more than two of you in the party, you're going to be looking at the backs of the heads of other people in your party. Could be a blessing for some. There are also some picnic style tables at the back of the theatre, but seriously, why would you choose to sit here at the dining theatre? Anyway, as I said, all the cars face a giant screen where scary clips are shown on a loop. You'll see attacking aliens, marauding mummies and rampaging robots. Don't scream me a mouthful. Like 50's Prime Time, this place also opens for lunch and dinner, and when dining plans are being offered, this one is also 1 table service credit per person. The biggest difference though is that this one is really hard to snag a reservation for. The food here is priced around $10 for an appetizer, $20 for an entree, and $9 for dessert. Appetizers include fried dill pickles, crispy chicken strips, and the sci-fi wedge salad. Entrees include burgers, pan-seared salmon, pastas, and salads as well. And desserts, well, they have a house-made sci-fi candy bar, warm glazed cinnamon apple donuts, and a hot fudge sundae. This place is popular for their shakes, but you can also get wine, sangria, beer, and cocktails too. So what are your thoughts on this one? Tell me in the comments down below. Tell us about your experiences at these 2 restaurants, Eric. And most importantly, which one would you choose to go back to?
Thanks, Dan. I have eaten at both of these restaurants, and I did like both experiences. So it is going to be a little bit hard for me to pick between the 2, but I do have a favorite. First, I'll start with 50's Primetime Cafe. My experience at 50's Primetime Cafe was during lunch. It was not too busy when we went, and we were seated pretty close to our reservation time. We did not have to wait very long for our table at all. The theming of this restaurant is top notch. It's like you're walking back in time and you're going right back into the 50's, into an old kitchen where there's wallpaper and old tables and chairs, almost like an old diner style look, traditional to kitchens back in the 50's. You can enjoy watching some of the old televisions that are around the dining room that play classic TV shows and cartoons. The servers at 50's Primetime are also in character. Our server was great. She reminded us to keep our elbows off the table. When my husband got up and went to the restroom and he came back, she gave him a pop quiz on what color the soap was in the bathroom to make sure that he actually washed up after he used the restroom. I thought that was pretty funny. And they make sure that you finish all of your dinner before they offer you any dessert. The menu at 50's Primetime was good. I had the fried chicken meal and my husband had meatloaf and mashed potatoes, and of course I did taste his. Everything we had there was good. We also tried the peanut butter and jelly milkshake, which is one of the things that they're known for. And the food was tasty, it was delicious. However, I'm from the South, so we have a lot of things that are on their menu pretty regularly. Things like mashed potatoes and meatloaf, pot roast, fried chicken, all that kind of stuff we have down here regularly in restaurants and just on regular dinner rotations. So those are things that I can get back home, not necessarily what I want to have when I'm at Disney. Next, Sci Fi Dine Theater. I really love the theming of this restaurant. You go in and you get into a car. Your table is actually inside of a car, and it's like you're eating in a drive-in movie theater. At the front of the room is a big projection screen, and they play old, really crazy sci-fi movies. The ones with like the aliens that are landing on the earth and old Godzilla type movies, things like that, that don't look real at all. But that's part of the fun and the campiness of eating at this restaurant. The one thing about eating at the Sci-Fi Theater is because you're in a movie theater type setting, it can be a little dark, so it's a little bit harder to see the menu. The food here I thought was really good for what it is. It's kind of like typical diner style food, a lot of burgers on the menu, burgers and fries and shakes. There are some pastas and some other sandwiches that they offer as well. But I thought it was really good for just a simple burger and fries. It was really tasty, and they always have a seasonal burger that they offer as well. If I had to pick between the 2, again, it's a really hard decision for me, but I think that the Sci-Fi Dine Theater has just a little bit of an edge up for me. I just really like the atmosphere a little bit more than the 50's Primetime, and I prefer the menu there over what they offer at 50's Primetime as well. Well, so far the score is 1 Sci-Fi, 0 50's Primetime. Where will you be off to, Taylor?
Well, Eric, it's not 1-0 for long because I choose 50's Primetime. I have tried both restaurants, though I'll admit it's been a while, probably 5+ years since I've eaten in either. But I liked everything about 50's Primetime more than the Sci Fi Diner. First, and most importantly, we have to talk about the food. The last time we went to Sci Fi, I had a shrimp pasta dish and my husband had a steak, and they were just okay. Absolutely nothing special. We ate them, we moved on. But the last time we went to the 50's Primetime, we had the combo platter, which is called a sampling of Mother's favorite recipes. And this has fried chicken, meatloaf, and pot roast on it. And all three of these dishes are so great. If you ordered any of them on your own, you could not go wrong. But to get a little bit of all of them, oh, the meat is just so juicy and tender, and the flavors are delicious. Really, really good home cooking style food. My favorite of those three is the pot roast. And that is saying something because I would absolutely never order pot roast anywhere, but I would go back there and order just the pot roast every single day. Second, I could actually see my food at 50's Primetime. Don't get me wrong, the theming at Sci-Fi is really, really cool, but it is insanely dark in there. You're supposed to be outside at night watching a movie. But if you can't see your food, that kind of takes away an element of the dining experience, and you're sort of just sitting on top of the people in front of you in that car, or you have people directly behind you. It's not the most comfy dining experience. Whereas Primetime absolutely nails the theming. The whole restaurant is just decked out in that 50s style. You really feel like you're being transported to that time. And the servers there are really great. Just go along with the shtick, have some fun, and you're not gonna go wrong. I've had so many fantastic service experiences there. I haven't been back to 50's Primetime recently because there are just so many dining experiences in Disney, and I just want to keep trying them. I want to keep checking them off my list. But once that list is complete, I will 100% go back to 50's. Sci-Fi, it was a one and done for me. So we are now 1-1. Courtney, I know you're not a fan of either of these restaurants, but you have to choose. So which one will it be?
Thanks, Taylor. You are right. Neither are really my cup of tea. Sci-Fi is very dark, and the food to me is just very basic. Nachos and hamburgers, something that I could get pretty much anywhere. So to have a dining reservation and go in and sit in a dark space to eat that just really is not my idea of a good time. The 50's Primetime environment is super fun. It is bright, everything is so retro, and of course the servers are always in character. The servers remind me of that aunt or grandma that you may have that is just waiting for you to put your elbows up on the table so they can tell you to get them off. The food is very home style, but to me, basic. I don't go to a restaurant and order meatloaf, but I can see why it would be appealing to some people. For me, a return to 50's Primetime or the Sci-Fi Diner is not in the immediate plans. But if you put my life on the line and made me choose, I'm gonna go with 50's Primetime Diner. And that's only because they have the peanut butter and jelly milkshake. Let's be honest, that's what we're all going for. Okay, Carol, it is now 2-1. 50's Primetime has taken the lead. What are you saying?
Thanks, Courtney. I have eaten at both places. Sci-Fi is a cool experience. I like sitting in the cars and seeing the old black and white movies. The food is okay. It's mostly a burger menu, and I don't eat beef, so my choices are fairly limited. The price point is fairly good though for a Disney restaurant. So when I was there, I think I had the buffalo chicken salad, which currently is about $16. It was a decent sized salad. It was a salad, tasted like buffalo chicken. Nothing really special about it. I did have the Martian margarita, which is about $14. And again, it was a typical margarita. So there's really nothing that stands out food-wise in this restaurant, but the ambiance is sort of cool. So you're sitting in the cars, like watching a drive-in. The premise is really great, but once you've done it, I really don't need to do it again. Now, prime time, that depends on your server. The correct cast member can make that trip totally enjoyable, or it can just be another restaurant. It's more comfort food, which when you've been on vacation for several days and eating all this fancy food, the comfort food is really appealing to me. Again, there's a lot of beef on the menu. Last time I went, I had the fried chicken, and that was really tasty. Portions are huge. Even though I want some of their exotic desserts, I usually only have room for like an ice cream sundae. The other thing I notice whenever I eat here is I never order an alcoholic beverage. I don't know why. Is it because mom's telling me to keep my elbows off the table and would disapprove? I don't know, but usually when I eat at 50's Primetime, I get an iced tea. Although the chocolate Godiva martini sounds really, really good to me, I just have never ordered it. So that's 3-1 for 50's Primetime Cafe to Sci Fi Diner. With only Dan left, I guess we have a winner already. What would you choose for yourself then, Dan?
Thanks, Carol. I feel a little bit irrelevant now, as my vote cannot change the outcome. But thank you all so much for sharing your experiences. So I have dined at both of these restaurants just once. Sci-Fi back in 2015 and Primetime in 2017, and I'll start by saying that both were good experiences. Sci Fi Dine Theater was great to do, but I was a little bit disappointed that it wasn't actually outside. And also the show loop was a little bit too short, and we started to see the same clips over and over again. Our server lacked personality and was one of the worst of the whole trip. The food was fine, but nothing amazing. I had a burger, the apple donuts and a milkshake, and it was really quite unremarkable. I had heard really great things about the burgers and the shakes, but honestly, they were really nothing to be writing home about. Average at best, and you will get a much better burger and a much better shake at Deluxe Burger in Disney Springs. That said, the clips were cool to watch, and dining in a car was really quite special. 50's Primetime was better, but we had a bit of a lackluster member of the family. In fact, he was really quite bad. I had watched some great interactions on vlogs before we went, but this guy that we had kind of felt unauthentic, and it felt really forced. In fact, he almost looked a bit embarrassed to be doing the job he was doing. The food here though was just great. I had a combination of 3 dishes, the meatloaf, the fried chicken and the pot roast, and it came with all the fixings. We don't really have meatloaf here in the UK, although my mum does cook it very occasionally, so it was really great to have authentic American meatloaf. And the pot roast was just melt in the mouth delicious. It came with garlic mash and fresh French beans, and I thoroughly enjoyed every single mouthful. Then dessert, and I chose the chocolate peanut butter layered cake, a la mode if you please. And this was really good as well, but it was really rich and I struggled to eat it all. But the peanut butter and jelly milkshake was the absolute win. It was truly scrumptious. For me, whilst I'm really glad that I got to experience the Sci-Fi Dine-In, it's a kind of one and done now for me. I 100% recommend that people give this a go. It is unique and it's fun, but it doesn't draw me back. 50's Primetime, I had quite a poor experience here in terms of the bants, but the food was really good, and I wasn't expecting that. Now, this isn't a must-do restaurant for me on every trip, but I'll definitely dine here again in the future. So my vote is for 50's Primetime as well, which takes us to 4-1, and Primetime takes the win. More importantly though, we're interested in your view. We have got 2 polls, one in our Facebook group and one on our YouTube channel. So please pop to one of them and vote for your favourite of these 2. Let's see if you agree with us. And if you have any questions for us, pop them down in the comments below and we will do our best to answer them. Finally, just to tell you one last thing, we have a playlist now about all of our dining videos. I'll put a link to that playlist in the description down below, and one should pop up here as well.
Thanks so much for watching this video.
Please click the like button and share this video with your friends too.
If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You know you want to.
And if you want a notification when our videos premiere, just click that bell icon down below and you'll get one.
If you're not already a member of our adult-only Facebook group, please join us. We have adult-only discussions, which is very refreshing when it comes to Disney.
The link is in the description below.
And as always, remember, never grow up.